Welcome back to the channel, and today we're going to be looking at some of the new features and tools that have been added to Blender 4.3's sculpting toolset. And it's going to be stuff like this one over here. It's going to be like new simulation ones that allow you to make really awesome real-time cloth simulations with the sculpting. So you can make some variations to things. I'll also just show you some of the new general brushes, some little use cases. It's just going to be a simple overview. I'm sure there are more in-depth ones, but I think these new brushes and a new asset browser for the tools here that you can use, it's going to be something you find very interesting. So let's dive into it, and I'll show you Blender 4.3's new sculpting features. Okay, so I'm going to be demonstrating this with one of my sculpted female heads that I've done on a previous tutorial. You can follow along with whatever object you want. I think as long as you have something to sculpt with, okay? So in Blender 4.3, just out of the box, it looks a lot like Blender 4.2. We're going to be looking at some of the new features in the sculpting section. So let's click on whatever you're planning to sculpt. And in Blender, once you have that object active, you can just go over into the sculpting workspace up here. And here you can see it just looks like the usual business, but you can see down here we now have the tools in the form of an asset browser, which is really, really cool. It's got a little search tab here, and just before we get into these tools, I'll quickly show you as well. You can hover over this little tab over here, and the cool thing is you can kind of increase the size here as well, and you can come here and enable names. You can actually see the names. You know, that might be handy if you're getting started and you want to know what sort of brushes you're working with. But you know, it's kind of really cool that they have it like that. You can also go by active, and then it only has the tools that are active. But for now, I'm just going to go ahead and turn off names. Or actually, I'll leave the names on because I guess I don't know all the brushes yet, especially not in Blender 4.3. But I'm going to go ahead and maybe turn the size down. Hopefully you guys can still see it. Okay, so now that we have the asset browser out of the way, a thing that I think is a really cool feature and the main one that stands out with the new 4.3 build. Let's have a look at some of these new tools. So by default, you have this little tab here called All, and this kind of gives you quick access to most of the tools you're usually going to use. And then it's just your general, and then there's the paint. And this is kind of if you're doing like masking and things. And then there are my personal favorites, and those are the simulation ones. Now this is the one I'm really looking forward to getting to today. But let's just start with the general. Okay, so generally when we're sculpting in Blender, we use the clay strips brush right over here. Okay, and the clay strips brush here is really handy for just laying down strips of clay. By the way, I'll quickly mention, just in case you're watching this and you have no idea about sculpting, you got to come up here to your active tools, okay, and then just go down and enable dynamic topology, and then click on OK. And essentially, this just allows Blender to dynamically retopologize your mesh so you can add details dynamically. Okay, pretty straightforward. I'm going to go with a detail size of 5 just while I'm doing this. You don't have to go that low. Obviously, the lower you put this, the finer the detail is going to be here. Okay, so now let's take this clay strips brush. This is the usual clay strips brush that we're kind of all used to, as you can see here. Now, the new brush that is really exciting is this one over here called the clay thumb. Now, the thing that this does that's different is it preserves the volume. See, with the previous strip here, it's just adding. And if I were to actually go back to the clay strips brush and hold in control and kind of just smear like a groove in here, you can see it doesn't displace anything. But with the new clay thumb here, it's just a really great way of kind of giving something that kind of hand sculpted look. Okay. You can see over here, it really adds to it. And you can also go here and decrease the strength. So this is a really, really good thing for those people who are looking for that kind of organic sculpting style, as you can see here. Just a ton of fun. So that's the main one I want to mention here. So I'm going to just undo all that. And then let's look at another brush that's really interesting. So over here, we have something that we've had traditionally has been the crease brush. But now you get the crease sharp. And the thing about this is that, just as the name says, it gives you a much sharper, more controlled kind of crease, which I think is really, really cool. With the previous crease brush, it really was hard to kind of get that. You really had to dial in the settings, but I just really like the nice smoothness of this. And it's just absolutely fantastic. Yeah, this is very, very nice. This is actually the one I enjoyed the most trying out with this sort of sculpt brushes here. Then we have an inflate deflate. It's the same thing we've always had in Blender, but I feel like this one now, it just works a little bit better. It just has less likelihood of like doing weird sort of artifacting. So this one's really, really great for kind of inflating things, and it just works really, really well. And then there is also a new tool over here called the fill or deepen tool. Now I'm gonna have to quickly do something here to demonstrate how this works. If I actually go over here and I just remove some of the material here, okay? The thing here with the new fill or deepen, if I take this and I grow my brush and I go over here, it can kind of fill the low, shallow areas, but without adding more clay to the areas that are already standing out. So this makes it a lot better at actually filling in gaps. And you can see here, I've kind of filled this and deepened this hole here, but you can still see kind of like the actual hole in the outside here. And that can be really great. If, say, for example, you have like scars or pockets on a character or kind of crevices in a rock, you might want to fill them a bit, but you don't want to actually get rid of that detail. You don't want to remove the actual crevices themselves. And that's where this fill or deepen tool is going to be really, really handy. Then another brush is this plateau brush, which is really kind of cool as well. This I think would be really handy if you were trying to do some sort of like adding like more volume or squareness to your character. Especially like around the cheek. I think this would be really handy for that. And you can see it's directional. So if I start here, it plateaus towards where I'm pulling. If I start over here and pull out, it plateaus towards where I'm pulling. So really cool brush there. You can also try out. And then you got this thing here called the trim. And I really like the kind of look that this one gives here. It's kind of almost like if you do real sculpting, you get kind of like this brush. It's like a folded wire and you can kind of trim or remove clay. And once again, this goes kind of hand in hand with the clay thumb brush here, which kind of gives you that more traditional look if that's what you're going for. Some people really don't like the very clean look you get from digital sculpting. So you can see here how nice that looks. It kind of really kind of adds sort of like an organic, real kind of sculpting feel to something that you're working on. Yeah, but I think that has been really cool, just covering some of these basic brushes here. I think what we can do now is look at my favorite part, which is the simulation brushes. So for that, it's not going to be too handy to have this. So what I'm going to do, go ahead and just go back to your layout, and I'm going to hide this object here. And I'm going to go Shift A. I'm just going to go to my mesh options and add in a plane. I'm going to tab into edit mode. I'm going to right click and go subdivide. And under the subdivisions here, I'll give it something like 50 subdivisions. And now let's go over back to our object. And let's go into our sculpting workspace. And with the simulation brush, let's go over here to simulation brushes. I'm not going to bother turning on dynamic topology, as I just want to work with the topology that's already here. But let's give this a shot. So let's have a look at some of these. So let's come here and get the twist boundary cloth. So with this twist boundary, you kind of move it around until you see a edge becoming purple. And you can see this little gizmo, and then you click. You can kind of drag and then kind of fold the cloth like so. And then you can see that looks really cool. Really, really nice. That's going to be fantastic when we're trying to sculpt like some cloth over a character. And you can see over here, even after I've done that over here, I can always come back. You can see the edge highlights over here, becomes active. And I've got a lot of really nice control. And the thing is, it all works in real time. And then there's the grab cloth. I really like this one because it's kind of like the grab brush you get in the general sculpting, but this one works kind of like adding the real physics and folds. So if I kind of take it over here and pull up, you can see not only is it extending this, but it's kind of creating these sort of dynamic folds here in the fabric, which is really, really cool. And let's have a look here. There's the inflate cloth. So this is just like the one we have in a general, but once again, this one keeps the physics in mind. So as we're inflating, it's also creating kind of like the ripples and the stretching in the fabric, which is really kind of cool. That one's going to be really, really handy for kind of like detailing curtains and things like that when you add a little bit more volume dynamically. Now, so some of these other ones, you can try them out as well. This is kind of like the drag cloth. This one is also really fun. You kind of drag bits of the cloth, once again, adding in wrinkles dynamically. I grab this one over here. But my favorite one that I've added is this one over here, which is the bend boundary cloth. And I'm going to quickly show you this one. And the way I'm going to do that is just going back to my layout. I'll just quickly get rid of this guy. I'm going to go add in a cylinder. And I'm going to tab into edit mode. I'm just going to go Control R and roll in some more segments. And I'm going to delete the top. Okay, so we have an opening. Now watch this. This is really cool. If we go back into object mode, go back to the sculpting. Let's now grab this boundary over here, the one that kind of closes it in. And now if you hover over this opening, you're going to see this purple line. It becomes active and you can click and drag. And now look at that, you can fold it in. So you can press F to grow the brush and then that influence will be bigger. So now if I hover over the boundary, it goes active and I can kind of like make a nice sack just like that. How cool is that? So what I'm going to do now, just to make this look a bit better, is I'll go just back into the layout. I'll right click and go shade smooth. Under the modifiers, I'll go add modifier, search and type in sub and give it a subdivision surface. And then search again and type in solid and give it a solidify and give it a little bit of thickness. There we go. There we go. So now let's go back into our sculpting and watch this. It'll still work even if those modifiers on. So this is fantastic. Let's say I wanted a scene where I wanted some sacks of potatoes or vegetables in like a little Italian market somewhere. Now I can always come, once I've duplicated this sack over here, I'll give you a real life example here. So I'll just go over here and duplicate the sack a few times, right? These all look the same. So to have a little bit of variety, I can now very quickly, instead of messing around with the physics, I could very quickly come in here now to my sculpting and I can just grab these one at a time and make little variations to the sacks like this, and I can tab it. I can go back into object, grab another one, go back into the sculpt mode and do the same thing. And this is where this is really, really powerful. So I hope this has been a really good overview, just kind of showing you some of the basic tools here that you can use in Blender, Blender 4.3 when it comes to sculpting. And I'll see you guys next time.